When your cat slow blinks at you, do you actually know what they're trying to say? Yes, it looks sweet, but behind that simple action, there's something deeper that most people miss. It's one of the most intimate things your cat can do, and if you miss it, which most owners do, you might miss what they're trying to tell you. Let's start with what your cat's slow blink really means. 1. It's not sleepiness. It's a message. Have you ever noticed your cat looking right at you from the couch, the bed, or across the room, and then slowly narrowing their eyes like they're almost falling asleep? Most people think it just means the cat is tired, relaxed, maybe drifting off. Here's what's actually happening. A slow blink is often not about sleep at all. It's a social signal. It tends to happen in calm, positive moments, and researchers at the University of Sussex found that cats respond to human slow blinks with more eye narrowing of their own. In other words, this is not just your cat shutting down for the night. This is your cat communicating in a way most people never learn to read. Here's why this matters. If you assume it means nothing, you miss one of the quietest trust signals your cat has. Think about that for a second. Your cat isn't using words. They're using something softer, slower, safer. And by the way, if your cat ever used to slow blink at you and suddenly stops, don't brush it off. We'll get to what that can mean at the end, and it's something most owners wish they'd understood sooner. 2. Science says your cat is not being random. Have you ever wondered why your cat slow blinks at you instead of meowing, rubbing on your leg, or climbing into your lap? The common assumption is that cats are just unpredictable, and these little facial movements don't mean much. Here's what's actually happening. A 2020 study in Scientific Reports found that when humans slow blinked at cats, cats were more likely to slow blink back. In the same research, cats were also more likely to approach an experimenter after a slow blink interaction than after a neutral face. That matters because it suggests cats don't just notice this signal, they respond to it positively. Here's why this matters. Your cat may not be staring into your eyes because, in feline language, hard eye contact can feel intense or threatening. International Cat Care's feline guidance notes that avoiding direct eye contact and using a slow blink can minimize perceived threat. So when your cat gives you that soft, half-closed look, they may be choosing the opposite of tension. They may be choosing peace. And here's where it gets even more powerful. This means the mistake most owners make is not cruelty. It's missing the invitation. They either stare back too hard, ignore the moment, or don't realize their cat just opened a quiet door to connection. That changes how you see the whole interaction. 3. Slow blinking happens when you're already inside their safe world. Have you ever noticed that a slow blink often comes right after your cat rubs against you, sits near you, or settles into the same room with you? Most people treat those as separate little habits. Here's what's actually happening. Cats use more than one channel to communicate safety and belonging. Cornell's Feline Health Center explains that when cats rub with their face or scratch with their paws, they deposit scent from glands in their cheeks and paws. International Cat Care also notes that cats mark territory and social space with chemical deposits, and that friendly cat bonds are often shown through mutual rubbing and grooming. Here's why this matters. A slow blink can be the visual version of the same emotional message. Not a scent mark, but a social mark. It often shows up once you already feel familiar, predictable, and emotionally safe to your cat. Think about that for a second. Your cat is not just tolerating your presence, they're softening in it. So the next time your cat rubs against your leg, settles nearby, then gives you that slow blink, remember this, you may already be inside the circle of things they trust, and in the world of a cat, that circle is very small. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. 4. This signal is ancient. Have you ever wondered why a cat would close or narrow their eyes around anyone at all, when staying alert is such a huge part of surviving? Most people think a blink is too small to matter. Here's what's actually happening. Cats are highly aware animals. International Cat Care's Feline Welfare Guidance explains that cats protect themselves by staying alert to their surroundings, that getting to safety is their preferred response to danger, and that direct eye contact can feel threatening enough, that a slow blink is used to reduce perceived threat. That means this little gesture likely sits on top of something old and deeply wired. In feline language, softness around the eyes signals that the moment feels safe enough to lower tension. Here's why this matters. This is not just a modern pet habit, it's a deeply feline way of saying, I don't need to defend myself from you right now. What makes this even more meaningful is that domestic cats learn to use these old safety signals with humans. The same International Cat Care Guidance notes that cats who are positively socialized to people early in life are more likely to enjoy human company. So when your cat slow blinks at you, they may be pulling an ancient calming signal into a human relationship. That's not trivial, that's instinct being redirected into trust. 5. They don't give this to just anyone. Have you ever had your cat ignore one person in the house, tolerate another, and then give you that slow blink from across the room, like the moment belongs only to the two of you? Most people think that's just personality. Here's what's actually happening. A 2019 Oregon State University study found that cats form attachment bonds with human caregivers, and that the majority of cats in the study use their human as a source of comfort and security. Securely attached cats balance attention between the person and the environment rather than staying constantly tense or avoidant. Here's why this matters. Slow blinking may not be something your cat hands out equally to every human they meet. They may do it most readily with the person who feels safest, most predictable, and easiest to relax around. Think about that for a second. Your cat could keep a neutral face. They could look away. They could remain alert and unreadable. Instead, they soften. That reveals something about how they see you. Not just as the one who feeds them, not just as the person in the house, but as someone they can emotionally settle around. And that is a very different kind of bond. 6. This is what most owners never realize now. Here's the part most people miss. A slow blink is not only affection, it is controlled vulnerability. You think your cat is just looking sleepy, but actually, they may be doing something far more meaningful. Here's what's actually happening. When a cat narrows or closes their eyes in your presence, even briefly, they are reducing vigilance. Not all the way, they are still cats, but enough to change the emotional tone of the moment. A Sussex research showed that cats both respond to and approach more after slow blink interactions, while feline welfare guidance shows that direct staring can increase perceived threat and slow blinking can reduce it. Put those together and a very clear picture appears. Your cat is choosing connection over tension. Here's why this matters. That tiny movement around the eyes is your cat saying, I am safe enough with you to soften. Remember earlier when I said most owners miss the invitation? This is what I was talking about. Because the real mistake is not understanding that your cat may be offering you one of the calmest, quietest signs of trust they have. Short look, soft eyelids, no tension in the face. That is not empty behavior. That is emotional surrender, in the feline version of the word. And for an animal built to stay aware, even a small surrender matters. 7. If it disappears, don't ignore it. So what if your cat used to slow blink at you, and now they don't? Most people assume nothing is wrong, or they think the cat just got moody. Here's what's actually happening. Sometimes nothing serious is going on. Cats change routines. But International Cat Care also warns that changes in routine behavior, such as avoiding contact, can reflect emotional change or health problems, and that cats are excellent at hiding pain or illness. In other words, subtle social changes can be meaningful long before obvious symptoms appear. Here's why this matters. If your cat stops slow blinking but everything else is normal, just observe, stay calm, give them space. But if the change comes with hiding more, less interaction, different sleep spots, unusual tension, reduced grooming, or less interest in you, don't dismiss it. This is where most owners get it wrong. They wait for the big sign. Cats often start with the small one, so if that soft-eyed communication suddenly disappears and other patterns shift too, pay attention. Not fearfully, carefully, because your cat may be telling you they no longer feel as settled as they used to, and that matters. So when your cat slow blinks at you, do you actually know what they're trying to say? They're saying the moment feels safe, your presence feels calm, you are not a threat they need to guard against. That's not just a sleepy face. That's trust. That's peace. That's your cat choosing softness around you. And that simple behavior, that slow blink, it was never small to them, and it shouldn't be small to you either.